Hi there, welcome back on the channel. It looks like we have a Japanese today for you. It's a Toyota, it's the Che-HR model, the hybrid one. Manufactured in 2017 and is done about 60,000 kilometers until now. I never thought that I would read the specs of my phone for a car, but considering this one is the hybrid, I don't want to butcher the facts and the specs. So yeah, as I said, we have the hybrid, so we have the 1.8 liter petrol engine, naturally aspirated with 4 cylinders, coupled with a couple of electric motors, and the whole system is driven by the eCVT gearbox. It's only front-wheel drive, this model, and until we get to the whole spec sheet, I'm gonna see the values for the sprint from 0 to 100. It happens in 11 seconds, and the top speed is limited to 170 kilometers per hour. The car weighs about 1.4 to 1.5 tons, so it's not a heavy car, even though it's quite small. And the whole system develops 122 horsepower and about 142 Newton meters. But if we take them separate, the electric motor, the main one, develops 82 horsepower and 163 Newton meters. And the petrol engine develops 99 horsepower and 142 Newton meters. So why don't we add up the values? Because frankly, that's not the way things work on hybrids, at least not those that come from Toyota. It does have a couple of electric motors. One is used to drive the car, the other one to generate electricity. It also uses the petrol engine to drive the car. So it does choose which of the mode it uses, depending on your asking of the system. So yeah, it's not a fast car by any stretch of the imagination, and obviously by the shape of it, it's more like a city car, a sort of a crossover, pseudo SUV as I like to call them. But the main aspect of the car is actually the main two aspects of the car are the fiability, because it's really reliable, the system, as we all know from Prius, from Corolla, for any number of models from Toyota. And the consumption figures, weirdly, it gets, at least on paper, a lower number in terms of consumption inside the city rather than outside the city, or the average. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, the manufacturer says something like 3.4 3.8 liters, but as I saw with this model, because it is driven only inside the city and not any city inside city center of Bucharest, the values are more like 5 to almost 10 liters per 100 kilometers. So yeah, that's how bad things are here in Bucharest. Anyway, in terms of the design, it looks quite nice. As I said, it's a crossover, a small crossover nevertheless, but with some sporty accents. As you can see, the door handles in the back are hidden, but that also means there's some disadvantages on the inside, we'll see later. But other than that, for at least for two people, she's more than enough. You can stretch it to 4, but not on a long trip by any means. In terms of luggage space, we do have a very heavy tailgate for one, but we do have enough space, mostly for two people again, not really for a family or for 4 occupants. As you can see, we have the usual carry-on luggage, which does look like half of the almost half of the trunk space. You could fit, I guess, about 4 to 5 carry-on luggages like this one. And other than that, there's not much here. You do have some light and a couple of hooks on either side. A small cubby on the right side, but is not covered. And underneath the boot floor, let's see, we have a bit of space with some tire repair kit. Let's check out the back. On the door card, it's interesting, but not necessarily in a good way. As you can see, we do have quite a lot of black plastic, hard plastic. Nevertheless, it does create a small window here in the back, so yeah, not great. And also, the armrest itself is from hard plastic, so yeah, I would not enjoy to be driven in this car, at least not here in the back, for more than 100 kilometers probably. Other than that, yeah, we have some interesting design here and on the door card itself, with a small cubby here where's the handle. The window, it does have an auto function, which is nice to see in Japanese cars. Usually they're just on the driver's side. And we have a cup holder here and a speaker down below because we don't have any additional space on the door card. And in terms of the interior, not much to talk about. We don't have an armrest, just a light fixture. And it's weird because we don't even get a 12-volt outlet or an USB port here in the back. So as you can see, this is the space back here. I do have a palm of space for my knees, but even though the front chair is in line with the B-pillar of the car, if I would sit in front, I would slide it a bit towards the back of the car. So yeah, this could disappear in a bit, but for the most part it's all right. I have enough space to stretch under the chair. Also, in terms of headroom, I have more than palm of space. But yeah, it feels a bit dark in here because we do have black ceiling, so I don't get a lot of light in the car. Also, the windows are quite shallow, so yeah, for short trips, as I said, would be fine, would be alright here in the back. But other than that, no, I don't have a central armrest. I'm surrounded by hard plastic on the door card, so I wouldn't enjoy traveling for more than 50 to 100 kilometers here in the back, at least. At least in front, things are looking up, because we do have sort of the same design with an additional decor here and some piano black, which it does scratch just by looking at it, so not amazing, but at least it's something compared with the back. And also the armrest here is soft and squishy, so that's nice. Also the pocket, it's a bit larger. Well, it is a pocket, to say so. But other than that, again, things are not awesome. We do have sort of a sporty seat, but it doesn't even adjust by height, so again, not ideal. We have a seat in here. I pushed the chair a bit to the back to have some additional space for my knees, because I only had one finger of space, and as you can see, I almost got now 2 fingers of space in here, at least on the left side. The right side is all right, but obviously we don't have soft materials here, so I won't rest my leg for a long time here. And also the glove box, it's quite low, and yeah, it's an alright size, but it's not covered. So, and at last you'll see the driver's side, the same door card with addition of controls for electric windows. Again, they're all with auto function, which is nice. Locking and unlocking the doors from the inside, and the outside mirrors are also adjusted from here. Other than that, the seat itself, it's a bit better. You do have some lumbar support, only on 2 ways, but it's alright. And you also can adjust the height of the chair. Let's see. On the left side of the steering wheel, we have the auto function of the headlights, auto parking, heated steering wheel, and not the charging flap, fuel flap, the fuel filler cap needs to be opened from there. Let me have a seat inside, and actually I'm just gonna start the car as well. It's on electric power. As you can see, this is the POV of the driver. The steering wheel, it's quite thin to hold, and it does have piano black on it, which again, it's a bit weird. We're gonna scratch it, but well, what can you do? At least we have physical controls on the right side. You control the small display from the gauge cluster, and also the assistance systems of the car. Below, you also have a small stalk for the cruise control, adaptive cruise control on this model. And on the left side, we have the commands for the infotainment screen. Then the usual stocks from Toyota behind the steering wheel, and the gauges are analog, well, on the right side, because on the left side we don't have we have a power meter. Yeah, it's a hybrid, so you don't get to see the RPMs of the engine, but at least we see the temperature of the coolant, so yeah, it's alright. The small display shows you some infos. You also get the parking sensors in there, not on the main screen, but for the most part it's alright. You can get used to it. Then we have some light fixtures, an interesting design here on the ceiling. The mirror, which gets darkened if you turn on the auto function, and it does have quite a hefty frame, but anyway. Then we get the infotainment screen with a small digital clock that is quite common on Japanese cars. Then you get the hazards, the climate unit with physical buttons, the way things should be, and underneath a small cubby, which is covered in some rubber material, a USB port, an auxiliary port, a cup holder which is adjustable actually, the gear selector for the ECVT gearbox, the electronic parking brake, disactivation of the traction control, the brake hold, and also the EV mode. another cup holder here that is adjustable here and here, which is again nice to see. And the armrest, it does have quite a lot of room considering the things that were in there. Welcome to the driving part of the review. As you can see, we are already on the road with the Toyota, and I did do a small trip with it to have my first impressions for you. So I'm gonna start with the comfort aspects of the car, which are the controls. The pedals are nice and easy to modulate. The steering feel, it's a bit numb, but it's easy to turn the steering wheel. It's an alright car for urban environment. Also, the gearbox is nice and easy. Yeah, it does rev the engine from time to time, especially if you want to overtake or to maintain a certain speed. But for the most part, it's a comfortable car. It doesn't have real gears, so yeah, it's all right for city driving mainly. I'm gonna go now to 130 to hear the noises inside the cabin. This is it. You could probably hear that the noise insulation is not great, so that's a small thing that goes in the other direction of the comfort feeling of the car, because it's not great. You do hear a lot of tire noise. We are running on winter tires, so they're a bit noisier, but even so, you get quite a lot of wind noise as well. The outside mirrors are quite large, even though the car is not that long, so it's a bit weird, but you do have a nice visibility in the mirrors. The downside, as I said, it's the noise that they're generating. So yeah, it's not all comfortable with this model, at least not on highway, not on higher speeds. We'll see shortly how it feels at 110 and at 90 as usual, but until then I do have to mention another thing. The suspension is not really set up to be the most comfortable car. I can understand why. It's quite a tall vehicle with a center of gravity quite tall as well, because it has to be a crossover to generate sales in today's market. So yeah, the suspension is a bit stiff, not uncomfortable, not by any means, but it could have been better. But I'm realizing something. They were not able to do so much in terms of refinement, and they couldn't use the fanciest materials inside, because then the price would have been way too high. And it was already pretty high compared with some other similar models, but mainly that's because of the hybrid system. So Yeah, it does have some quirks that you have to get used to. For instance, this model, it does have heated steering wheel, but it's only on one level, and it's only on the left and right side of the steering wheel, not on the top and bottom part. Also, the infotainment screen is not great, but it's something common for Japanese cars from back in the day. So yeah, it's the little things. Let's try now to go with 110 to hear the noise levels. Which is now. Again, a lot of wind noise and a bit of tire noise as well. As I said, it's not great, but if you're running on B roads, on national roads, it's gonna be more than alright. Not necessarily on the highway, or not necessarily for more than 200 kilometers, for example. Now I'm gonna try to reach 90 and let you hear the noise levels inside the cabin. This is it. Now I don't hear the wind so loud inside the cabin, but I do hear the tires even louder. And weirdly enough, I can hear the engine quite loud inside the cabin. Even if it's kept at a constant RPM, it's still noticeable. But as I said, they couldn't make it the most comfortable and insulated with the fanciest materials crossover on the market, because they wouldn't sell it. They wouldn't generate the same amount of sales with the price, I don't know, towards 60 to 70,000 euros back in 2017. So yeah, that's the thing. Now I should talk about the consumptions of the car, because I did talk with the owner. I was not able to see the actual numbers inside the infotainment screen. As I said, it's something that almost all Japanese cars have in common. They don't have the nicest infotainment screen. It's a bit clumsy, and the values are shown on a graph. So that's kind of hard to read. So anyway, the car, it is driven inside Bucharest, and as I said, it did almost 10 liters per 100 kilometers on a couple of journeys. For now, it shows 4.7 liters, and until I drove the car, the owner managed something like 5.9 on the last trip. So they are not the lowest in terms of consumptions, but compared with some similar crossover from any manufacturer that uses only petrol engines, something like 1.4 turbocharged engine with around 120, 130 horsepower, those figures would have been a lot higher. So yeah, it's really bad in Bucharest, and if even this hybrid model goes almost towards 10 liters per 100 kilometers, you can understand how bad things are. A smaller model like a Toyota Yaris would consume a lot less, but it does have less horsepower, smaller engine, and the overall car is smaller. But if we are talking about costs, let me open the subject of the maintenance, because even though the car is from 2017 and it has done over 60,000 kilometers by now, the owner didn't encounter any problem with it, which is always nice to hear. And in terms of maintenance, it's not, again, really much to talk about, because you have a naturally aspirated petrol engine, which can be maintained at around 15,000 kilometers or something similar. It depends really on how you drive the car, how often do you go in stop and go traffic. But other than that, yeah, they do have to check the battery from time to time. But that's pretty much it. I guess it could benefit from some spark plugs replacement in 50 to 60,000 kilometers. But again, that's it. I mean, weighing around 1.4 to 1.5 tons is not a heavy car. The tires and the brakes are not gonna worn out too quickly. It doesn't encourage you to drive fast. So again, low maintenance cost. And other than that, it's a reliable system. It does have plenty of warranty if your budget can stretch to a vehicle with warranty left from the factory. So yeah, as I said, not much to talk about in terms of maintenance. It's an easy car to live with. It does hold its value quite well. So yeah, that's gonna be it. If you're interested in a car that can be used to go from A to B in town or near the city, you're gonna be more than fine with it. This model rides on 17 inches. Yeah, it does have the tire pressure warning in the gauge cluster, but that's because it's running on winter tires and it doesn't have sensors. But other than that, as I said, it's an easy car to live with and to maintain. The overall cost of ownership is gonna be really low. But you don't have to be in a rush, because it's not that kind of vehicle. Nor the engine or the gearbox. I don't feel that they are made to be rushed or to be inspire you to drive in a sporty manner. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the driving part. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking the review and also subscribing to the channel. Until next time, thank you for watching. See ya.